Hello and welcome to Improve Your Voice. My name is Darren McStay. Today we're going to go over a video that I would not ordinarily do. And the reason for that is because it's been so hugely requested and so sought out on Google and through the channel that I thought, well, I've got to make that video, at least attempt to make it. So this video is going to give you some examples and techniques and lead you towards places that you can discover how to start making your voice something that attracts others more. So perhaps if you've typed in how to get an attractive voice, it could be for a few reasons, right? You might be someone who gives a lot of presentations and want to be able to get people to listen to you more, or it could be that you don't like your voice and you don't like the sound of it and you want to change it and have people listen to you more. Again, whatever it is, it sounds like attract is to pull people towards you, right? So firstly, what we should look at is it's subjective. Everyone will have their own opinion about the way they sound and the way other people sound. And not one person is going to be attractive to all. So whatever you decide and whatever direction you choose to go with this, you should know that whatever you sound like, whatever your voice is, it will be attractive to some people and not to others. Full stop. So right now, if you're typing this in, just consider that. Consider what it is you want to do. And that is kind of the first point. What do you find attractive? What is it you want to change? You really need to know this, because just having an attractive voice, it's subjective, like I said. So that what's attractive to one person is not attractive to another. So figure out what it is you find attractive, and then you can go through the rest of the tools in this, and they will help you create a voice that's closer to what you imagine to be attractive. Now, if we were to think about attraction like a magnet, okay, the more powerful the magnet, the more attractive it becomes, the more things want to magnetized towards it. So magnetism is an interesting way of thinking about attraction, because that way you can have a certain force and a certain power. Certain metals might not go for it, but other metals will really go for it. And perhaps maybe that's one way of seeing what an attractive voice is. You're not putting your voice into other people, you're using your voice to bring people to you. Okay, you want to draw people in with your voice, and that I can certainly give you some techniques on. So let's get started. For those who have watched any of my videos before, we may have gone over this ground, but I still think it's very important, and especially for giving you the dynamics of being able to manipulate and change your voice to get the voice you want, and that you'll be comfortable enough with that others will feel comfortable listening. And the first thing I would say is about learning to cultivate a relaxing tone. So by that I mean, look, we all know that people who are stressed out are very unattractive to be around, okay? If you're around someone who's tense and stressed, it's uncomfortable to be in their presence. And it's the same with the voice, because tension and stress can manifest in many ways, not just in the voice, but in the body, and your shoulders can go up, people's attitude changes. And what we want to try and do in order to sort of ease others' kind of presence around us is to find relaxation in ourselves. Now, once we find relaxation mentally, emotionally, and physically, our voice also follows suit. So our voice will become more soothing. The tone will drop. It would usually become more relaxed, and it's all part of the same parcel. Okay, you can't just change your voice without changing your body. Your body. Your voice is a manifestation of what's going on inside of you. And so if you're sharing any inner stress, any tensions, if you're carrying that emotionally or anxieties, then that's going to come through in your voice. So if you can start to think about tackling the stresses in your life, the anxieties in your life, then the tone of your voice will change, because your voice will be more relaxed because your body is. And therefore, the tone of your voice will be a lot more soothing, a lot more pleasing to listen to. And that is the first key thing, relaxation, de-stressing your life. It's a new year, so start making some plans to improve how you look after yourself, what you do, getting enough sleep, making sure your body's hydrated, Exercise often and regularly, but not too strenuously. Try to find enough balance that you can spend time on finding space in your body, relaxing your body, and not just working out to try and get that six-pack, because that's not really helpful for a voice anyway. Once you do rid tension in your body and get rid of stresses in your mind and emotional life, your voice will smooth out. It will become rounder. It will become more relaxed, more present, and people will listen to you more. And you will find that that is what's going to bring you attraction for the words you use and the way you speak. I'd like to share this video here with you because that goes into a bit more detail on how you can work on this specific area of tone and relaxation, and there's some really good exercises in that you should follow if you want to sort of start working on this as an individual piece, and it is perhaps the most important piece of the puzzle. So get working on that, get working on you, find your comfort, your inner comfort, and the outer voice will reward you for that. So the next point I'd like to talk about is pitch variation. Now, I'm saying pitch variation much like a singing teacher would say it, but for most of you who are out there who just want to improve your voice and become more attractive as a speaker, not just a singer, I don't usually use these terms, pitch variation. But what does that mean? Because it's something that you might understand, and again, it's something that people have been asking me about. So dynamics is my answer to that. The dynamics in your voice, that what you're able to bring to the table. How monotonous is your voice? Do you speak in one tone the whole way through, always going along the same line and not really changing things up or changing things down just to get your words out? And are you keeping on the same pitch all the time? I even changed the word pitch there because I can't help myself. I speak in a quite colourful way sometimes. Sometimes too colourfully, and others get lost, but it's perhaps a good idea to sort of find some control over that. And if you are someone who perhaps would like to have a more attractive voice because people say you sound boring, or perhaps because you feel boring or you don't feel people are listening, then maybe thinking about the variations in your voice and the dynamics in your voice as pitch up and down could be a way for you to start playing with that and start learning about that and starting to develop a voice that is more interesting and therefore more attractive to others. And this is something that is really going to be helped by practice. But what do you practice? I'd say personally, just pick up any kid's book or any book really and start reading. And start playing with the way you say things. And if you're unsure what you can play with, you can listen to storytellers, listen to audiobooks, discover what you feel works, what doesn't work. Look at YouTube channels such as this or any of the other hundreds of thousands of channels out there, and listen to what you find attractive and listen to what you feel is exciting or engaging. And then perhaps try to figure out what you can do with your own voice to make yours more like that, if that's what's interesting to you. Again, this comes back to what I first said about an attractive voice is only going to be attractive if it's attractive to you. You need to know what that is. So find what you feel to be working in other people and see if you can take some of those elements for yourself. It could be the relaxation, it could be the dynamics. By the way, there's a video here that's one of my most popular videos, and it was kind of designed more for voiceover artists, but it's really good for anyone who wants to learn a bit more about how they can manipulate and change their voice to find more dynamics. And there's lots of avenues you can take from that video, and it's really in depth. You might have even seen it before, but check it out if dynamics is the thing that you think is going to help you be more attractive, and hopefully that will give you some food for thought. Next is pace. I am a very fast talker. There are a lot of people out there who are very fast talkers. There's also people out there who are very slow talkers. Some people are considerate and take their time to form sentences, and that's not really what I'm like. I tend to rush ahead. In fact, I used to be a terrible mumbler. I still do from time to time if I'm not considering what I'm saying. So I have to remember to breathe, very important, and consider the words I'm going to say as I breathe. Breathe in, think about what I'm going to say, and as I breathe out, I'm saying it. But that takes a bit of effort for me, and I'm sure it is for other people too. And if you're anyone out there who suffers from anxiety, that could be even like further exasperated by speaking really fast. Now, when I talk about pace and slowing down your speech, it really is for counterbalancing that anxiety that you feel. So it's easy to rush ahead and just blah, 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 blurt everything out and get ahead of yourself, and you kind of lose track of yourself, and then you lose your words, then you feel more anxious because you've kind of tripped over what you're saying. Now, again, like I said in the first point, anxiety can create tension, and that tension is not really pleasant to listen to or watch. And so if you want to have a more attractive voice, I do suggest that learning to control your breathing, relax, that will help you slow down and become more present in the moment and share your thoughts with people more considerately. That's the right word. And it is easier said than done, but there is a video here that actually talks about breath control and how you can use that in order to calm the mind, focus yourself, and become more grounded and more present. And that will really help you engage with your words and slow down your speech so you can communicate more clearer, more purposefully with your audience, and therefore making your voice sound more attractive. The next point I'd like to make is kind of dependent on where you're speaking. And a lot of times, I don't think it's that people are all YouTubers or all recording their voice, but I hear it a lot, and it's one of the most popular sought out elements on my channel, and it's about pronunciation and clarity, articulation, if you like. So people do trip over the words because of the speed they speak, as we just talked about, and also people might not have many dynamics, or they've got a tense voice. But that aside, you can still articulate yourself by punctuating the words you say, by taking your time to complete every word. You don't have to over-articulate like I'm doing right now. I think on camera especially it sounds robotic, but sometimes I do that to emphasize a point. And by considering your punctuation and your pronunciation and the words that you're using and how they sound and how they can affect your audience, you will become clearer. And that clarity can be attractive because then people understand what you're saying. Again, like slowing down, punctuating your words and finding the clarity in the words and the ability to relax your jaw enough and your tongue enough and your vocal apparatus to present the words you're saying in a clear, concise manner, not only will help slow down your speech again, but make the words pop in the listener's ears. So you don't want people to ask you a second time what you said. You want to be clear the first time round. So working on your articulation, working on your clarity and your pronunciation is really going to help as part of that journey in finding a more attractive voice, being understood, basically. And so, like with the videos I shared there, if you check in the description box below, there is a course that I have on my website called Advanced Articulation. And that's really helpful at going through all the different articulators that we have and learning to exercise them individually and find out where our weak spots might be and how to strengthen those. And so at the moment, for the next week or so, I've got a 50% off coupon if anyone's interested in taking that course. It goes into a lot more detail than I do on this channel, even though there's a lot on this channel that you can take away. And in fact, you know, there's enough on this channel if you're willing to do the research to do whatever you want with your voice. But that course is specifically designed for improving your articulation and your pronunciation. So check it out if you're interested. The 50% coupon you can find in the description box below. So the next point I'd like to talk about is developing a rich and warm resonance. Now, resonance is one of those terms that gets bandied about and thrown around, and no one really quite knows exactly what it means. So I'm going to describe it to you like this. if you consider that your vocal apparatus and the tubes and the mouth and the nose and all the kind of passages that the air flows through to make vibrations of sound, which is the sound of your voice, have a certain shape and size to them. Everyone's born different. Okay, we all have a different instrument, a different body, and so we all have a different shape speaker, if you like. And the ability to be able to relax that speaker and manipulate that speaker is what defines the ability for us to resonate. Now, we can resonate with the choice of words we use, and we can also resonate with the sound that we create. So resonance is basically vibrations, and like a speaker, the idea of a speaker is to take a sound that's that small and make it that big, right? And so how well able are we to create resonance with ourselves? Now, think of it again like tension creates tighter spaces, right? So things don't resonate so much. They're kind of trapped, they're stuck, and they come out very smaller. But if you have resonance, you essentially have a more relaxed body, and the tubes that are inside, which can fluctuate and change size, will open up, relax, and allow vibration to flow and become much bigger. So it's almost like projecting without pushing your voice. Resonance is the ability to be relaxed enough to allow your voice to flow, so vibrations travel more, they hit people harder, they sound richer, and they feel warmer somehow. Even if your voice is very high, you can be very resonant. If your voice is very deep, it can be very resonant. So it's not about necessarily the volume, but it's just that certain quality of sound that comes out. You can have your best voice by finding resonance and by discovering your natural voice and your natural tones and what your body is capable of doing, what this physiological instrument that you have is able to do. And again, this comes down to our first point, relaxation. But there's a certain amount of relaxation that's good for resonance, and there's a certain amount of relaxation that will just deaden it. And I think this video right here is perfect for helping you understand that a bit clearer and giving you some exercises that you can practice to learn and understand better about what your body might be doing in order to resonate. And if you want an attractive voice, again, this is one of those things that's going to draw people to you, is being resonant. But I'm interested to know what you previously thought about resonance, or if this makes sense to you. Please leave a comment below, because this is a point that keeps coming up about resonance, and I feel it's so important. And if I need to go into more detail like I did in the other video, then I can do that again at some point, and maybe do some diagrams. I'm not sure. Let's talk about it. Ask me a question on resonance, and let's see where we're at. Now here's a point, and it's going to be my final point for today, that I've heard of many times through voiceover directors or directors, and I don't usually go for it, but there is something to be said for it. And the point is to smile while you're speaking. And I don't necessarily mean to physically smile, because you can physically smile and not sound like you're happy. It can sound too tense, and it can sound too forced, and that's not good. So I would suggest, however, that a positive voice is more attractive than a negative voice. There's a big difference between sighing like "ha" and sighing like somehow when you have a positive spin on your voice, or when you have not an upward inflection necessarily, but a take on something that is interested, it's curious, and it's hopeful, and it's, joyous in its tone, it kind of draws people in. And if you want to attract people, that's what you're going to have to do. But if there's a negative spin, if things are down, and again, not necessarily downward inflection, but if you're dismissing things, if there's anger, if there's depression involved, these are things that people aren't attracted to, and therefore will switch off from. So you can try to work on yourself to make yourself happier, but if it's that's probably easier said than done, right? But it is a thing to consider. And this can come back to self-help. If you generally do not feel down and you're down about your voice, how can you find happiness in order to make yourself sound more attractive? Well, you know you're on the right path because you're watching videos like this, right? And all you've got to do is put the work in and it will happen. It's like if you want to get muscles, you go to the gym, you lift some weights, you will get more muscles. It's the same here. You're working muscles in different ways in order to create the voice that you require, in this case, a more attractive voice. And so putting a positive spin, think about it. You're on a journey now. You are literally doing what you want to be doing. You are improving yourself, and that's something to be happy about. Share that with the world. Think about everything you're sharing with people as worthwhile, as something that's going to help them, that's helping you, and therefore it's going to maybe help you feel like smiling more, and maybe that smile will come through as you're speaking. I don't know. Why don't you give it a go? But that is a point. Keeping positive, smile when you speak. So that's me for today. This is the first video of 2024. I hope it's been useful. Again, please leave any comments and ask me any questions that you've got. I'm going to spend more time answering them this year. I've just created my first feature film, so I was away for a few months, and it was an incredibly tough experience, but we're now in post-production, so I've got more time to make some videos and get back to YouTube, and I've missed it, and I hope that I can share some videos that are really going to help you this year. Again, thank you for watching. My name is Darren McStay. This is Improve Your Voice. And until the next time, which won't be too long, look after your voice.